Hello YouTubers, so this is another one of those building a custom 70 volt speaker set type of video here. And that is with these two today. Now I recently acquired these two Atlas Soundolier. I believe it's the B161-4, the predecessor of the D161-8 over here. One of my favorite grills, so I came across these two grills recently. And it was perfect because I had these two stray 8 ohm speakers kicking around over here that got tired of sitting in this container over here for the past year. Now these two speakers here got pulled out of one of those crappy Crosley all-in-one units that my grandpa was about to pitch across the yard because it would never work. But instead he just left it outside to rot basically, so I tore it apart and I salvaged these speakers out of it. These speakers actually survived, so they sound pretty decent. So these have to have a second chance of life in these housings. So, and the nice thing with these speakers are they happen to be 4 inches, so they fit right on these studs just perfect. Well, one of them dropped in fine. The other one, it was kind of a tight squeeze because of the way that these studs were aligned. So I had to use a drill bit to enlarge a couple of these holes so this thing could drop down into there. And these little locking nuts here, these nuts, I happen to have those in my spare nuts and bolts drawer I have in the shop because, you know, I don't like to throw that kind of stuff away. So I put these on, and well, now this is fastened together. I am currently waiting for the transformers to arrive because I'm thinking of using one transformer between the two of these because I came across this listing on the internet for one transformer for about 12 bucks with shipping and everything. So I ordered myself 2 of them. They are 15-watt transformers, which is more than plenty for one of these. These happen to use 5 watts, so I'm going to use one transformer for 2 of these, so these two could consume about 10 watts off of that transformer. More than sufficient, with some tolerance room, of course, on the transformer. So these will be sharing one transformer. I am going to have to build custom housings for these because the housings for these is extremely hard to find. I happen to have the Lowell variant of these. I have 4 of them. But these ones happen to come with housings at the time. These are the housings I would need. The screw dimensions on this and this are the same, so there is no difference there with that. So, yeah. Once the transformers arrive, I will update you guys in the video. Okay, YouTubers, so it's about a day later from the last video clip you saw. I received the transformers. I got 2 of these, but I'm only going to use one of these for both of these. I think I mentioned it in the first clip, but I came across these boxes at the Home Depot. These junction boxes. This one is the 6x6x4 version. Had to modify them a little bit, as you can see. So these grills could sit flush to let the speaker also put together. I mounted this transformer to the inside of the box. As you can see, I drilled the holes. Got a knockout here, and I also stuffed some styrofoam in here just to kind of add a little bit of a insulation, we'll call it, and also to stop this from resonating. Even though this shouldn't really resonate with these tiny little speakers, these are not really bass heavy. Now, there's one thing I need to do to this assembly. I gotta take the speaker back out, and I need to make a sound gasket because these speakers are not very loud. Even with this transformer here tapped at 15 watts, they're not very loud. So I'm hoping that the sound gasket will kind of improve the sound a little bit. So, and plus, you don't want to really see the inside of this anyways. So there will be 2 wires coming. One's going to be an 8 ohm out going to this guy, and then the other one's going to be the 70 volt audio in coming into this transformer. did the same with this. Had to cut the metal a little bit to fold the frame in a little bit to make these fit. Yeah, I know they make back boxes for these, but the problem is those back boxes for these are extremely hard to come by. So this was the next best thing I could come up with, and it pretty much looks identical to those Lowell JR4 enclosures I have here. They have the JR4 drivers in them, so the little junior drivers. Pretty close to this, so that's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, I will continue on working on this and I'll report back to you. Okay, YouTubers, so I got done doing the sound gasket here. Custom made, because, well, these were missing the sound gaskets, and anyone that is familiar with an Atlas Soundolier B161-4 or one of these Rowland square perforation grills, they have something called a sound gasket, and it helps improve the sound but also maintain that square perforation. So what I used to, make these sound gaskets was this piece of foam board I have. I have a couple pieces of these kicking around here, a couple sheets of this for some old school projects me and my sister would do. And my parents are going to throw this foam boards out, and I decided to just keep them because, well, I find that these make really good speaker housings, so that's that. And I meticulously cut these all out by hand. Almost a clean circle, which I'm pretty proud of. So, yeah, I got that going. So now it is time to assemble these into this enclosure and that enclosure, and we'll listen to it together. Okay guys, so I got these two finally assembled. So the transformer is in this, and there's 8 ohms coming out to that guy, and this one has no transformer. So one transformer does the both of these. Now I have to say, these actually came out really nice. I'm glad Home Depot has something like this, because this is impossible to find, something like that would be impossible to find somewhere else. And these pretty much closely resemble these two, as I mentioned, with the two back boxes that these came with. So, you have one strainer leaf here. The 70 volts comes into here, and then like I said, the 8 ohms comes out. So now, let's hear what these sound like. So yeah, that's what these sound like. They have some bass to them, but obviously I cannot crank the bass up because then these drivers, well, they start clipping really bad and whatnot, because these are just little 5-watt speakers, and obviously I'm not trying to blow the speakers up on these. So yeah, these are former Crosley record, one of those Crosley all-in-one record player unit speakers that was saved from the landfill, of course. Finally, these speakers are in these enclosures after a year of having them. So now, they'll be part of the system along with the rest of these. So yeah, that is this building a custom 70 volt speaker set video here.